Hi there, welcome back to my channel. So this is another book review video, and I will be reviewing, as I have literally just finished, the sixth Harry Potter book, the Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Although I have all of the books, I've been listening to them via audiobook, and I have to say I've been really rather enjoying them that way. And it's kind of like listening to a movie as I go about my day, just with untainted views. um, so, as I said, I've just finished reading this, and I have to say that my emotions are definitely a little high. Um, Watching the movie, I won't deny I cried like a baby when Dumbledore died, but um, for those of you who maybe haven't read the book yet, I would highly advise not watching this video then, as I've just inadvertently left out a spoiler and I can't promise not to continue doing that. So if you haven't read the books or watched the movies, I would recommend not watching this video. Anyway, so I don't really know where to start. So I guess in comparing books to movies, which is what I've sort of been doing all along, I have to admit, me watching the movie actually ended up being a bit of a hindrance this time, whereas usually I find it rather helpful. In this case, whenever I would come across a scene that I remember very well, very vividly from the movie, I kept expecting the events from the movie to unfold in the book, and while there were similar aspects of it, that really wasn't the case. For example, starting in the beginning when Dumbledore goes to pick up Harry from his aunt and uncle's. In the movie, it doesn't actually show it that way. It shows them meeting on a train station and going off from there. Whereas in the book, it's completely it's different, way more detailed. I actually really rather enjoy the book version of it rather than the movie of it. The fact that he picked him up at its home in the dead of night, basically, and the events that unfold between the aunt, the uncle, and the nephew with Dumbledore, and just everything that kind of goes on. I really enjoyed that more than I did the movie version. But I kept expecting, like coming up to it, I kept picturing what was happening in the movie in my head, and then being surprised when I didn't read the exact events from the book. They weren't the same, so it really caught me by surprise. And that being said, there are actually some scenes where I almost preferred the movie's version rather than the book version. For example, later on when Harry tricks Ron into thinking that he's drank the lucky potion to help him win, or to gain confidence during their first Quidditch match, and while the events are fairly similar, I almost prefer the movie version to the book version, because later on in the movie, for example, there is a simple discussion that goes on between Harry and Hermione about how, he shouldn't have done it and blah, 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 to indicate, then showing her that he hadn't actually done it, that it was just meant as trickery, so to speak, to help Ron gain some positivity and accomplish something. While in the book, that conversation was made right in front of Ron. So I don't know. I like the events and how it unfolded, but I like both sides of it. I like how in the movie they didn't really include Ron in that, and he kept going on to think that he was superior and he had lots of luck, and he in that continued on through a lot of the book, or the movie rather. Whereas in the book, I kind of like too that they did include him and tell him that it was false, just because it proved to Ron that he is fully capable of being a really good keeper, without any external sources or help. So I don't know, the more I think about it, the more I kind of like both, but I like the situation and how it was leading up to the occurrence in the movie more than the book. You know, I don't know, there's sort of a lot going back and forth where I really enjoyed both of them. But there's, once you get past a certain point in the book, it's again apples and oranges. The differences between the two are phenomenal. And I get more and more immersed into the story versus, or in, yeah, immersed into the story using the book rather than the movie. The events are quite a bit different. There's more information that gets revealed in the book than the movie, and I found that looking back at it, it makes more sense now thinking about what happened in the movie more than what happened in the book. It's almost like you have to read the book before you watch the movie in order to understand what was happening in the background. Yeah. No, I really rather enjoyed the book. A lot, actually. It hit me pretty emotional. Like I said, my emotions are just a little bit high as I literally just finished reading it. So, Dumbledore has passed on. And I really enjoyed, I think, out of everything, I really enjoyed the funeral scene, how literally everyone came to pay their respects, not just staff and teachers, or rather staff, ministry members, and students, but some of the different creatures that lived in amongst their world as well. The mermen kind of surfaced and paid their respects, and the different creatures from the forest, of the centaurs making an appearance. It really goes to show how much Dumbledore really did impact the world around him and not just his students or those living within the castle. I also found it very interesting too, as I'm going through the book and realizing the significance of the different objects that became a Horcrux for Voldemort. Jumping back a little bit into the meat part of the book, if you will, they don't really ever explain the significance behind each one of the different objects that become a Horcrux in the movie. I mean, there's some indication, the ring belonged to Voldemort's mother, but beyond that, there wasn't a whole lot of explanation as to why he was picking the objects that he did, and his overwhelming connection to the castle. So I'm kind of glad that I've gone back and I've reread this book in more as I am now versus when I first read it, just because it really made me understand a bit more about Voldemort, and I almost felt sorry for him. If anything, I felt sorry for Voldemort's mother, who tried to find happiness but just didn't go about it the right way. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this book. I would absolutely say 5 out of 5 stars. There's no question whatsoever. And all in all, like I said, I really rather enjoyed it. I'm sort of at a loss for words. Don't entirely know what to say other than the fact that I really enjoyed it. Yeah, so if you haven't read this before, I'd highly recommend it, especially if you've seen the movie and have never read the books. So that's kind of my take on that. So again, it's a cover, and I really enjoy these covers. They've changed over the years in the different variations from place to place, but really enjoy this, and I have quite a few different variations. But yeah, I really rather enjoyed this book. So thank you so much for watching. If you are a new subscriber, be sure to let me know what you think. If you've read this book, what you think, movie versus book, the different characters and the events and such. Feel free to leave any comments or questions that you may have down in the comments. Again, thank you so much for watching my video. And again, if you haven't subscribed before, please remember to subscribe and hit the bell icon and like this video if you do. To all my existing subscribers, thank you so much for coming back to watch. I greatly appreciate your support, and I will see you in the next video.